Right, folks, well, you just heard a track off Mother Road, which, of course, is in the top 10 for this year for my good self. And I tell you what, it's a pleasure to be joined on the phone from the other side of the pond by one of the gentlemen from said album, and that is, of course, Mr. Keith Slack. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to listen to your album, it has to be said, Keith. Hence, it's in the top 10, because it is a fabulous slab of bluesy rock.
That's great, man. It's unbelievable.
You must be really pleased.
We never expected it to get that far.
You must be really pleased with the reaction that people have given to the album.
Yeah, I mean, we're blown away. We just we do what we do and make music and hope for the best, and you just never know nowadays.
Well, obviously this is very true, because it is a bit of a fickle market, to say the least. But obviously, looking at the guys who were involved in the band, and obviously the influences that you guys have got, I would have thought it was going to be a reasonable bet that it was going to be a good album.
Yeah, one should hope.
So what got you guys together to do this particular release?
Well, Chris and I met up via our management, Birgit Schwanke, and we decided that, or actually we were shocked that both of our influences and the style of music that we were wanting to do were the same. And, I was a little reluctant about starting a new project or a new band, per se, because I was working on original material for my own next solo release. But then Chris sent me 3 songs to test out, just the music, of course, and I was blown away. I was like, wow, okay, well, after we did the first 3 songs, which are actually on the record, I think I finished those in 3 or 4 days and sent them back to him, the rough drafts, and from that we just agreed, okay, this could do something.
Well, I mean, I was pretty familiar with most of the guys that are on the album. I'm very familiar with your work, obviously starting out with Steelhouse Lane and the superb albums that they are, and obviously
thank you.
Working through to the other stuff you've done. Although trying to get a copy of Mud Pie over here is expensive, to say the least. I think it's about time you re-release that, he says. And obviously, obviously stuff that Chris has done. I mean, I'm very familiar with obviously Soul Doctor and Heartline as well. I mean, again, 2 fabulous projects. Yeah, Chris has done a lot of great stuff too, and so is Alessandro. And well, yeah, exactly. He's like, what can I say? It's something I said to Eric Ragnar, obviously another well-known keyboardist. It's probably easier to name the albums he's not on, to be honest, or he's not involved with. He's got his fingers in so many pies.
A lot of stuff, doesn't he?
I'm not overly familiar with Zachy and Frank's work. What have they been involved with before?
I do know that Zachy played with Chris in Soul Doctor and maybe a couple of other projects, and Chris and Frank have been friends for years. I know that Frank played in some incarnation of Kingdom Come.
Right, did he?
As well as some other projects.
Now, there's another great band. I didn't realise that Frank was involved with them at all. That's me showing my useless memory as usual.
Well, you and me both. I definitely have a case of half-timers. Trying to keep up with it all.
Well, trying to keep up with the releases that have come out this year. I mean, it's been hard work, to say the least. But it's nice to see that there's still some fabulous, great rock music about.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I mean, I'm glad that guys like yourselves are not sort of sitting back hoping just to earn loads of money, but still, recording and releasing your passion.
Yeah, if we did this for the money, we would have been through a long time ago. Unfortunately.
Oh, sure.
If you don't have the passion, then hang it up, because especially nowadays, there's just not the money in it that there used to be. You just you just make music for the love of making music and throw it against the wall and hope that something sticks. That's all you can do.
Why do you think that the music industry is the state it is now? I mean, it's obviously, A&R men they don't exist anymore. I mean, record companies, with probably one or two exceptions, are not really doing anything, or certainly not sticking their head above the parapet, and it's down to the bands generally to self-promote themselves.
Yeah, it's a piece of work, isn't it? It's really, really complicated, and you hope to look at the positive aspects of it, that the bigger labels, especially since they choose to keep pushing the crap that they do, just Justin Bieber and the likes of that shit. But with that, in turn, even though we're having to suffer and sacrifice, comes the great ability to be more creative and put out your own stuff. And and it's also weeding out some of the, I don't know, for lack of a nicer terms, the wankers, that have been overly funded and pushed down the mouths of the sheeple. And at least in turn this way, if you're a real artist and you're creating music that you believe in, then eventually you're at least going to be able to sustain your position in creating music, or you're going to sink. It's depending on unless you're rich.
Well, there is that as well.
Then you can keep throwing shit out there all you want. Doesn't mean anybody's going to like it.
Well, now this is, you see, you've now turned on my opinion button, because it means I'm always opinion that some bands, it doesn't matter what they release, people, as you said, a brilliant phrase which I'm going to have to grab off you, is sheeple, will just blindly buy it regardless whether it's shit or not. Now, I'm not of that market. Even the bands that I am the hugest fan of, if they release a shit album, they release a shit album, and it's as simple as that, and I will say so. But it
just is what it is.
I suppose on the plus side is, if there's one thing about rock fans, they are a pretty loyal bunch.
They are, and especially in the UK and overseas, I noticed and love the fact that people still go to shows, they still buy CDs, they still support the artists if they believe in them and they really like them. A good friend of mine, Doug from King's X, I noticed that with their band, that every time they go out, they always have a great crowd. They always have supporters, and nobody plays King's X on the radio. They don't get what they deserve. But when they go out, they have a loyal fan base, and it's because they're a great fucking band.
Well, Doug is such a highly respected man within the industry and with fans as well.
Oh yeah, as he should be.
Absolutely. I mean, those guys always go down a storm over here. That's for certain.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's so great to see that that they still have their fan base and they're really more loyal. I don't want to say they're more loyal. It's like you said, the fans believe in something, they stick with it. Through thick and thin. But I noticed that it seems a little bit more loyal across the pond than it is in the States, because people are so I don't know, man. It's like the attention span is that of a gnat. You've got so many distractions and so much crap going on that people are consumed, and they rarely sit down and dig into an album, as I like to still call them, the way that we used to do.
Well, this is a downside of social media, and I'm glad you brought up the word album, because I am eagerly waiting for you guys to release the vinyl version next year, because my hand will be going in my wallet straight away for that.
Yeah, I'm waiting on my copy too. I think I get one.
I've made it a vow. I buy a new vinyl release, at least one every month now. I mean, not that I ever got rid of my old vinyl, but it's just, people can call me a Luddite, a member of the Flat Earth Society. Do you know what? I really don't bloody care. Vinyl is fantastic. It is on the increase, and forget about all people put it down saying, all the pops and crackles. Take that away a second. It's the fact that you have to sit down and listen to it. You're not You're not doing 15 seconds and then skipping onto a track. You've got to listen to it. It's a whole proper experience.
Yeah, it is. Well, Chris has been teasing us too because he already has a copy of it on vinyl. And
I saw some posts and I thought, you bastard.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And he's over there snobbing us, telling us how great it sounds on vinyl, and it's incredible. And I'm sure it is, but I like to listen for myself, so I'm still waiting for my copy.
Well, I'm going to say you should jump the queue. You've got an advantage over me.
Yeah. I think a lot of people got in there and got dibs on it, but that's okay. I know mine's coming.
Speaking of albums as well, I believe I read a few bits on Fastbook, etc., that you guys are already sticking your fingers in, ready for a second album.
We sure are, and as a matter of fact, after I get through with the interview with you, then I'm scattling over to the studio to start work.
So I'm holding you up then.
No, you're not holding me up. But that's been our plan all along, is just to keep working, to keep making music and keep working. And, I think if you stop and try to ride the wave, then you can end up beached.
Absolutely. So you were saying that you've were thinking about obviously bringing out some more solo stuff yourself. Would it be in the same vein as Bent Not Broken?
Who's to say? It probably will have some of those bluesy influences in there, and some of the real kind of trippy, Radiohead-ish retro crap mixed in too. My influences are so spread out that you just never know. It's just what gets created, what will be released.
Well, obviously,
sorry to be so vague, but.
Well, obviously, one of your influences, which I do know, and it's a gentleman who I am a massive fan of course, is Mr. Billy Gibbons, which sort of, that whole Texas blues scene for me is absolutely fantastic. I just absolutely adore it. I mean, ZZ Top is my all-time favourite band anyway, so I mean, Billy Gibbons really can't do any wrong as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and having grown up in the Golden Triangle, which is Beaumont, Port Arthur, and some other town, I don't remember. This is where there's a lot of great music that came out of here. Janis Joplin, and I know Billy spent a lot of time here, and Edgar and Johnny Winter, Big Bopper. There's quite a few, and then country artists we won't even get into. But there's definitely something here. I don't know if it's the pollution from the oil refineries or the water. It's something.
Well, I have visited Texas many years ago. I must admit. I think it was actually when was it? It would be about 78, just when it was hitting the heat wave, and I do remember it was about 120 degrees every day.
Yeah.
It was what we call a tad warm here.
Yeah, it's beautiful right now. I mean, it's supposed to be wintertime, and I'm standing outside, and it's sunny, 70 degrees.
Oh, it's certainly not that here. That's for certain. It's what's known. I think the technical term is piss poor miserable here at the moment.
Yeah, cold and raining.
Yeah, traditional British weather. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll visit in the summertime.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure, Keith, having you on the show. I say congratulations on the album. I absolutely love it. It is one of my favourite albums of the year. I mean, there was no doubt it was going to go into my top 10. So you better give Chris an absolute elbow and tell him to pull his finger out and get this vinyl release sorted out so I can go out and buy it. And I'm really looking forward to the second release already.
I sure will. And thank you so much, Dan, for having us on.
It is my pleasure. You take care, Keith, and hopefully I'll speak to either you or Chris when the second album comes out.
Hell yeah, that sounds great, Dan. Well, hey, man, you keep rocking, and everybody keep listening. Stay tuned.
Thanks indeed, Keith. Cheers now.
All right, cheers, Dan. Bye-bye.